Coming up this week, off-screen.
The Alien series makes a covenant.
Jessica Chastain introduces us to Miss Sloane.
Johnny Harris swings for the Jawbone.
The grief process undergoes a levelling.
An unlikely friendship blooms in France.
And the dark side of humanity rises in Tomcat.
All those to come and more off-screen.
This is Off-Screen. Off-Screen. With the latest film news and reviews, this is Off-Screen, the on-screen radio show.
Welcome to Off-Screen, I'm Van Connor.
And I'm John Coulson.
Stepping in for Mr. Allen this week. So
yeah, bigger and better.
Bigger and better. Well, we've got bigger. We don't necessarily have to go with better. You've watched American soaps. You ever see those American daytime soaps that they have?
Only when in America.
Only when in America. Have you ever seen it when another actor steps in, like the understudy steps in for one of the other actors?
Oh, yeah, and they just don't talk about it.
They don't talk about it. What they have is an announcement at the beginning of the show. It's like, this week, the part of Kincaid Iron Pants will be played by... and that's it. So it's like, this week, the role of Case Allen will be played by John Coulson.
Nice.
But, okay, so before we get on with the news, the reviews, the box office top 5, let's have a piece of news to kick us off. You obviously are aware of the Hellboy series.
Yes.
Have you seen both of them? You've seen Hellboy 1 and Golden Army?
I've seen one. I never saw the second.
Okay, I prefer the second one, actually. But subject to sore discussion in our house, I prefer the second one. I'm outmatched in that. They are now rebooting Hellboy.
What?
It's getting rebooted. Yeah.
Are they still using Ron?
No Ron. This is going to be a Ronless job.
I'm out.
It's a wrong and Ron, that's what it is. So, instead, did you see Stranger Things last year?
The Netflix show.
The Netflix show, yeah.
No, it's still on the list.
It's still on the list. Well, the sheriff from Stranger Things is going to be the new Hellboy. So David Harbour, who most people wanted to be Cable. He was in talks to be Cable in Deadpool. He was one of the considerations.
One of the 400 people.
One of the 400 people, indeed. So, because they couldn't get Anthony Hopkins or Redford or any of the great actors, they slummed it and settled on Josh Brolin. And then David Harbour just said, well, you know what? Sod this. I'm just going to be Hellboy instead. Oh, nice. So, as you do, as one does. Yeah, I can't be the Marvel hero, so I'm just going to go and be the son of Satan with a big red right hand.
And a cigar.
Yeah, exactly. Also, this is where it gets really cool. It's going to be directed by Neil Marshall, who brought us Dog Soldiers, who brought us The Descent, Centurion. What was the one in Scotland with the wall, and it was like the viral apocalypse in Scotland? It starred Rona Mitra. It was awesome.
Everything with Scotland, my immediate answer is just Braveheart.
Did you ever see Centurion? That was the one he did with Michael Fassbender. It was like a Roman in Britain kind of a epic. It was awesome.
No, that was before I accepted Fassbender as a person.
Oh, okay. Well, that was when he was starring in things like Jonah Hex. So
right.
We like to forget those times.
It's well before.
So Hellboy, Rise of the Blood Queen.
Nice.
Is going to be apparently R-rated. It's going to be close to the comics.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot more faithful than the Del Toro ones. So, yeah. And star David Harbour.
That's cool.
So,
I like this. All right, maybe I'm slightly more back in.
I'm starting the petition now to get Annalee Tipton to be Elizabeth Sherman.
You start that petition for pretty much anything.
I will, yeah. For the opening of a mailbox, I will start petition for Annalee Tipton. But, okay, let me do a review then, get one out of the way. Miss Sloane. Are you aware of this one at all?
Ish.
You'll have seen adverts for it on the sides of buses and things. So this is Jessica Chastain doing what works as sort of a cross between Scandal and Erin Brockovich. It's sort of Jessica Brockovich, Jessica Scandalvich, if you will. So it's directed by John Madden. It is the story of basically a very timely story in a strange way. She's a lobbyist.
Oh, nice.
She's a DC lobbyist, because that's not topical at all.
Not one bit.
Now. No, not at all. So the idea is she is the go-to lobbyist. She is the one you get to champion your cause. She is effectively Olivia Pope from Scandal.
Oh, nice.
Only, looking a bit more Julia Roberts-ish, we shall say. And she's approached by the firearms industry.
Right.
To basically say, there's a bill going through and they want to increase background checks for handguns. We want you to destroy that bill. And she decides she doesn't like the cut of their jib, as it were.
No.
She decides to leave her firm, and in the ultimate act of spite, she goes and she joins the other side, and she decides she's going to lead the campaign for the bill to increase background checks on firearms, which of course doesn't help that she's actually something of a closed-off person. She's kind of emotionally stunted because all she does is argue for a living. She's kind of cold and unfeeling, and the only gratification she gets in life is from male escorts in DC hotel rooms.
Oh.
And she finds something of a protege in Gugu Mbatha Raw, who's this sort of the survivor of like a school shooting, who works for her, and Jessica Chastain puts to work as the face of the campaign. We have a clip in which Jessica Chastain encounters her former work rival from her old company, played by, do you know Michael Stuhlbarg?
You know I'm useless with names.
He was Doctor Strange's rival in Doctor Strange.
Then yes,
I
do.
The other Doctor, the one he didn't like.
Yeah.
That's Michael Stuhlbarg. Here's a clip of the two. Not Doctor Strange, obviously, but here's a clip of Stuhlbarg and Sloane.
Since when were you camera shy? What happened? You find a wrinkle?
If it isn't Bill Sanford's poodle. Let me guess, on a tight leash, sniffing at his ass for business?
If you weren't such a joke, we'd already have his business. So how about this? Give Mini-Me a day off, and I'll give you a shot at the title. Live TV debate. You and me?
You must be desperate if you're willing to give me airtime.
I kick your bony ass hard enough, Bill Sanford, to realize why he came to us in the first place.
You need me strong to make him worried.
You're not looking so strong after a head-on with me.
All right, I'll grant you a job interview on national television. You can show your master what a big, tough dog you are.
So she's all steel face and just ice cold, and I love her in this. Oh. And I've never been overly won over by Jessica Chastain, to be honest. No. She's one of those where she's like technically a brilliant actor. She's a brilliant technical actor.
Yeah.
But then when you see her in something that requires a bit more fun, a bit more oomph, she's always a bit...
So playing Cold-Hearted seems to work for her.
Playing Cold-Hearted seems to work. But you remember like Crimson Peak?
Yes.
Yeah, that was the Guillermo del Toro haunted house movie with Tom Hiddleston, and Tom Hiddleston was having the time of his life. And then you had Jessica Chastain, who just couldn't get over her own accent.
She was there.
She was just sort of there, and she was terrible in it. And yeah, this seems to happen with it. Also, the Snow White spin-off, the Chris Hemsworth Snow White spin-off. Huntsman, Winter's Boar. That was it.
Oh,
yes, yeah, Winter's Boar, which lived up to its made-up title. She's great in this, though. And like I say, it's like it's a less light-hearted Erin Brockovich.
Oh.
And supporting cast are great. Gugu Mbatha Raw gets all the sort of the easy emotional stuff, the sort of the I can do tears acting.
Single tear jobs.
Single tear jobs. She can do that well.
Nice.
Michael Stuhlbarg plays a wonderful slimy antagonist because that's what he's good at. He was even good in like the Steve Jobs movie when he did that as well. Mark Strong's a sort of a mentor figure. I like Mark Strong very much. He's
Everybody
very good in
likes
it.
Mark Strong.
And John Madden keeps proceedings go along with a little bit of momentum, and it all quite works. I did like it. I liked it very much. It plays around with its timeline a little bit, where half of it seems to be set now and the rest is in flashback, and it works very, very well. I think as a vehicle for her, I recommend it very much. If you've always wondered what the fuss is about Jessica Chastain, I would check this out.
Oh, right.
I didn't get a chance to see The Zookeeper's Wife recently, I must admit, but I was off that week. And chilling. I was chilling that week, and there was only one screening on a Thursday, and it just didn't seem it seemed a bit overkill. But yeah, so let's plug the podcast real quick, because you usually get a podcast edition, don't you?
Yes,
rather than live radio.
Always podcast
for you, which of course you can download and get the extended edition, because after the end credits we've got a whole heap of stuff where we usually go through more film news, the reviews we can't fit into the radio edit, and of course Moment of Cage, which you know,
the best bit's
worth it on its own. And then I usually get text messages from you mocking them at different
My
stages.
review of the moment.
Your review of the Moment of Cage. And of course, if you want to find that, you can just go pop along to iTunes, Acast, TuneIn, any podcast platform. Really, what do you use? What podcast do you use?
Podcast.
Just Apple Podcasts.
Just Apple Podcasts. So I want to use Acast because of the links thing that pops up.
Digital bling.
Yeah.
I'll be really honest, we don't set them up. I would love to. I just don't have the time. We could actually, if we thought about it, we could actually stick the digital trailers into the...
yeah.
I should probably look into that.
Since he's not here, let's just say that's Case's
It's Case's fault. Stop the Case's fault. Yeah, he drops the ball on that one. It's totally does. You can't get the staff nowadays. But should we just explain? Case is off for the next 3 weeks. Case is finishing up his teacher training. And it's the final 3 weeks, so he's up to his neck in it. So that's
good luck, mate.
Yeah, good luck to him. And then he'll be a music teacher, and he can fulfill his dream of becoming Richard Dreyfuss in Mr. Holland's Opus, which is all he wants in life.
As long as it's not the Whiplash character.
And no one wants to be rushing or dragging. One final bit then before we move on. We've got to talk about the passing of Michael Parks yesterday, which was very sad news. Michael Parks, most of us, I think, know nowadays from Red State more than anything else. He played the Fred Phelps character in Red State.
The Kevin
Smith, yeah. But I remember him from the beginning of From Dusk Till Dawn, where he was the sheriff. Remember at the beginning of the sheriff who comes in and has that great big monologue?
Yeah.
And then just casually gets executed.
Well, you know.
As you do.
That film has a few twists.
Film has a few twists and turns, yeah. He passed away aged 77 yesterday. They've not released the details of his death, and it's very sad.
It is sad.
But he worked with some greats as well. He worked with Robert Rodriguez on From Dusk Till Dawn, then he worked with Rodriguez and Tarantino on Grindhouse, Kevin Smith on Tusk and Red State.
Oh, Tusk, I never...
Yeah. No. Tusk is a really twisted film. He was also in Argo, which I forget who he was in Argo, but he was there. He was there. So yeah. But so fare thee well, Michael Parks. We hardly knew ye, except for the large back catalogue of films you left. We know those very well. But still a sad loss to the film world nonetheless. And we'll be back after this.
With the latest film news and reviews. This is Offscreen, the on-screen radio show.
And we're back. So, Mr. Coulson, where should we go next? What should we take on next? Jawbone, which I think the title refers to a passage of text at the beginning of the film, which comes from the Book of Judges.
Right.
And if I just pitch this one to you, because I saw this about 3 months ago.
All right.
And I did the written review there and then. But obviously, you don't do your radio review in advance, because what you're going to do, record it and just stick it in a folder and just edit it in. Edit it in later. So I had to see it again. And I really loved it the first time, and I really loved it the second time. So it's not lost any of its charm in 3 months. This is basically Rocky meets I, Daniel Blake.
Oh.
Imagine that. So you've got Johnny Harris, who... I don't really know Johnny Harris from anything. He's kind of he's a sort of second stringer actor. He always plays like the henchman.
All right.
He's like Henchman 2, in a Guy Ritchie movie.
Not even the first one.
Not even the first henchman. He's always like Henchman 2 in a Guy Ritchie movie who's got like 2 lines. He's always the guy that goes and makes the crime boss a cup of tea.
All right.
That guy. So now he's written this, he's produced it, and he's starring in it. So, write the theme tune, sing the theme tune. Usual fun.
Like it.
And he plays Jimmy McCabe, a former youth boxing champion. Apparently this is semi-autobiographical. Like, apparently he actually is a youth boxing champion.
Oh, right.
And he was a youth boxing champion when he was like 14 to 16, sort of that kind of an age. He's gone off the rails in his older years because he went into unlicensed fights. And it's led to a life of substance abuse, of, taking physically violent jobs for money.
Right.
And it's now left him, due to a sort of Daniel Blake-esque being turfed from his own home so they can knock down his block of flats, left him homeless, recovering alcoholic, and he seeks solace in his childhood gym, which is run by, wouldn't you know it, Ray Winston.
Oh, nice.
As these places always are, Yeah.
Nice.
So you've got Ray Winston overseeing the place. In the corner of the ring, you've got the corner man, played by Michael Smiley, from Kill List, from Free Fire, from any Ben Wheatley film.
Yeah.
Any Ben Wheatley film ever. And then, of course, in the background as well, you have his friend played by Ian McShane, who's a sort of slimy boxing promoter who can arrange unlicensed fights for him. And the whole idea is he wants to take on one last unlicensed fight to basically get back his sense of self-worth, and basically give him the money he needs to, basically rebuild his life. We have a clip of Michael Smiley and Jimmy McCabe / Johnny Harris having something of a disagreement.
I'm looking to fight again. Just a one-off. I don't care who they put me in with.
They've got this kid. He's dangerous. Are you fighting unlicensed? Whatever happens up there, you are on your own.
If you want to get yourself smashed to bits, that's your choice. But I promised Bill I was going to get you ready for this fight. And I'm going to honour that.
So you can hear from everyone in that clip. You can hear Ian McShane, you can hear Ray Winston, you can hear Michael Smiley. Right, okay, so Johnny Harris brilliant in this movie. Absolutely brilliant. And obviously, it's his material. So he kind of not really got much of an excuse.
Yeah, he should know it.
He should know it, really, yeah. You've got great support from Ray Winston, who's actually managing to do something for a change beyond just hamming it up.
Oh, just being Ray Winston.
Just being Ray Winston, that whole typecasting. There is an element to it, but there's a soulfulness to this character that I thought actually makes something of a change for Ray Winston. Very much enjoyed. Ian McShane, having some fun being Ian McShane. He's taken that job over from Ray Winston, Ray Winston gets to stop being Ray Winston, but Ian McShane gets to be Ian McShane.
That's fair enough, though, because he's Ian McShane.
It's fair enough. He's Ian McShane, man. Lovejoy, let him do what he wants. That's how this works, man. Don't worry about Game of Thrones. Don't worry about Deadwood. He's Lovejoy, man. Just let him ride. And then, of course, you got Michael Smiley, who is always reliable. And this last sort of 10 years now, Michael Smiley has emerged as this wonderful character actor who you can put in anything and he will just be the emotional anchor. And he is here as well. There is just that moment in which he and Johnny Harris come to blows, have their big verbal smackdown, as it were. Nice. And it's absolutely owns the screen. It's so powerful, so brilliant. It's directed by Thomas Napper, who I'm not terribly familiar with his work. I think he comes from mostly TV background, but really gets the grit and intensity of this film. So in a day and age where you like me, you kind of seen all the Mockney gangster films you ever want to see.
Yeah.
And they all look the same. They all look like sub-EastEnders spin-offs. You know what I mean? And because they usually start at least one EastEnders actor, that's usually
it's true. Or someone just doing an awful accent where you're like, you should be in EastEnders.
Yeah, exactly like that. And then Danny Dyer turns up for his little cameo, and everyone goes home a winner. But rather than do that, what he's doing is he's found a way to make the grit, to make the intensity, and make the atmosphere work. This actually does feel like a film set in London. It doesn't feel like it's just a Mockney film and it's just set anywhere. This works in that sense. It's also got this wonderful score by Paul Weller, of all people. So
really?
Paul Weller has composed the actual score for the film, and it's really, really good.
Well, of course it is. Paul Weller's done it.
No, because there's a rumour today that he's angling for the new Bond theme. He and Noel Gallagher are angling for the new Bond theme.
Give it them.
Well, wouldn't the film be better off having a script before a song?
No,
just
No.
If you give a film a song before a script, that's how you wind up with Quantum of Solace.
Oh,
and yeah, no one needs that again.
Oh, awkward.
Or what was the last god awful one? Spectre.
Yeah,
with where they had that song where all the lyrics just sounded like a suicide note.
Yeah.
I'm still convinced if you took that Sam Smith song and you wrote the lyrics down on a piece of paper and put it next to any murder victim, the police investigating would assume it was a suicide. I'm telling you now.
So grim.
It really was.
Ruined the film for
everyone. Ruined Spectre for you forever. That joyous romantic comedy that was Spectre. But no, this is really something. Do you remember 100-Foot Journey, a film a couple of years ago, the Helen Mirren catering movie?
Yes.
As it were.
Well, I remember your review.
Well, there was a moment in that which Helen Mirren's character she susses out the capabilities of new chefs by making them make an omelette. And I feel like for filmmakers, the equivalent is make an underdog boxing movie. Because anyone can make an omelette and anyone can have seemingly make an underdog boxing movie. There's so many of them. There's so many of them. And they can't all star Kevin James. So, occasionally one has to be really, really good. And this is it. This is the really, really good one. We had Bleed for this last year with Mars. That was awful. This is way, way more like it. And yeah, Johnny Harris. Absolutely brilliant in it. Really good writer. His script has real depth. I'm a fan. Right. It's Rocky meets Daniel Blake, and that's awesome.
Sounds fantastic.
Yeah, see it. You'll love it. You'll love it. You will love it.
I'm already excited. I don't have to wait to listen to then be excited. So yeah.
So let's stay with the great musicians doing scores for a second. Okay. There's a remake of Suspiria coming out, the classic horror movie, and Tom York from Radiohead is going to do the score for it.
Really?
This is apparently a thing. It's going to star Chloe Moretz, for better or worse, but Tom York.
We'll say better.
Tom York is going to do the score.
That does sound pretty good.
That does sound pretty good, doesn't it?
Skills.
I'm intrigued. Guys got skills, as you say. Definitely. So, another review to take us to the bridge then. Tomcat. Oh, brace yourself for this one. Right, so this is called Cater in its native Austrian tongue.
Right.
It is directed by Klaus Handel, or Handel Klaus, I forget which way around it is. Writer-director who has written this tale, and we don't have a clip because it's all in Austrian.
Oh, okay.
Right, this is the story of a gay Bohemian couple. They're very liberal. They're very living the artisanal life. You know, everything's organic, as it were.
I like this.
One's in an orchestra, the other one's, I think, is a writer.
Oh,
they spend all their free time hanging out with their large circle of friends. Occasionally, when the night's taken a bit of a boring turn, they have an orgy to pep things up.
Well, you know,
as you do. And at the centre of it all, they have this cat that they love and adore. And one day, whilst having a very naked breakfast, one of the couple, inexplicably and completely out of the blue, whilst petting the cat, snaps its neck. And yeah, your reaction is intentional. Yes, that is exactly how it happens. There's no setup for it. He's sitting there, he's petting the cat, and then he just breaks its neck. And what then follows in the wake of this sudden onset of just innate human violence is the absolute implosion of this couple's world. So they can't trust one another. They're afraid of what each other are capable of. And yeah, it's really dark and it's really twisted. But at the same time, it's all. It lives up to the sort of the lifestyle that this couple lead, which is this, sunlit, veranda set, sunny life. So it all looks like that as well. So you're talking about really, really horrible things, but in glorious sunshine and in wonderful contrast. And everything looks whimsical and dreamlike, but we are talking about really, really horrible things.
Yeah.
And I realise that at this table, obviously, I'm the dog owner, you're the cat owner.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Really, really good. Really well acted. However, comes with a serious drawback, which is Well, you ever seen the inside of an aero bar?
Yeah.
Where it looks like a solid block of chocolate, then you look inside and there's just these big pockets of air.
Ah, yeah.
This film's kind of like that. It clocks in at 2 hours.
Wow.
And you're thinking, if this were 90 minutes, it would have been great, but you've got half an hour of pretty much stairs. Like the Honest Trailer thing, where it's just like people staring at each other and pondering, and there's a lot of meaningless. There is, like I say about, they have orgies to pep things up. The film literally does that. The film, once it reaches a point where they have nothing to do, just has an orgy.
Oh.
And, okay, fair enough. And it does feel like there's a lot of occasions within the film in which they just resorted to padding.
Yeah.
And you're like, just go for it and give us a 90-minuter. I'd be happy with that. There's a punchy enough film at the centre of this that would hold your interest, because the concept I've just given you sounds interesting enough, doesn't it? You'd watch that movie. Well, you probably wouldn't.
No, I would. I was sat here hoping that you were saying it was going to be good, because if it was awful and that subject, I was like, well, why has that ever been made?
It is a film that actually needs to have the idea of animal violence in it in a strange way. It's not like the beginning of High Rise when Tom Hiddleston's just eating a dog, just casually munching on a charred dog leg. It's something that's actually integral to the plot. But, really, really well staged. Just not terribly well written. It's overwritten, as it were. There's too much padding in it that you feel like if you'd taken on someone to do a second draft of your own screenplay and just whittle it down for you, then maybe this would be something a lot more impressive than it is. As it is, it's not a film you're going to forget having watched.
Well, yeah.
I mean, you will watch it, go into work the next day, be stood at the water cooler, and when you're talking about your night the night before, I watched a film which two gay dudes, their world collapsed because one of them snapped a cat's neck. And that's not something you see every day.
How did you, how does someone write that?
I don't know. My uncle always had this theory about how did the first guy come up with the idea for Saw. And it's just one of those things.
Yeah, it is. You're right.
But right, let's come back then with the box office top 5
with the latest film news and reviews. This is Offscreen.
My wingman anytime.
And so we're back, my wingman. So, where should we go next? Box office top 5?
Yeah.
Number 5.
Bonjour!
Bonjour! Bonjour! Bonjour!
Bonjour!
Beauty and the Beast.
Did you enjoy that, did you, Johnny
I
boy?
was taken a little bit by surprise.
Beauty and the Beast. You've not seen it. Your missus is a big fan, I believe.
Yeah, well, actually, no. Her family are.
Oh, her family are big fans.
Yeah.
Was she not a big fan?
No, Kel likes the original, and then she wasn't as impressed with...
That intrigues me, because obviously you have Beauty and the Beast merchandise throughout your house.
Yeah.
So you have a full-size replica of Lumiere, don't you?
We do. Well, it's a little bit broken because we've also got 2 cats, but... But yeah, it's she wasn't as impressed.
Fair enough. I did run into your would-be father-in-law actually at the last screening I saw of it.
Yeah.
But I could actually hear him singing from the waiting area outside.
Oh God.
But right, so now Beauty and the Beast, I liked it very much. I don't think it's going to be to everyone's taste because it's basically just a shot-for-shot remake of the animated version with a few minor deviations. But I don't think that's a particularly bad thing.
Well, that's how, for me, they should have done The Jungle Book instead.
You've got a real thing about The Jungle Book.
Yeah, they ruined my childhood. That's why I've got a thing.
Right, don't be like that. Episode 1 ruined my childhood. Jungle Book did not ruin your childhood. God. Just wait for Aladdin, and then we can mourn together.
Yeah, that will ruin my childhood.
I'm sure we can all pine over Aladdin when Guy Ritchie gets around to doing that one. But anyway, because apparently he's not doing well with the current one. But King Arthur is not getting great reviews.
All right.
But anyway, so no, but I like Emma Watson. I like Luke Evans and Josh Gad as Gaston and LeFou. I think they're great.
Does sound like perfect casting.
They are great casting. Yeah. I actually think Luke Evans almost makes Gaston too likeable.
Oh.
You know, it's a bit problematic. And Dan Stevens, great, despite the fact that the effects they use to make him the Beast are terrible.
Great until he's the Beast.
Great until he's terrible, because the effects just aren't very good.
Number 4.
Cookies are for closers.
Boss Baby.
Right, do you get that gag out of just the cookies of closers thing?
Is it from
Glengarry Glen Ross? It's a reference to coffee as for closers from Glengarry Glen Ross, right. which was Alec Baldwin who gave that speech in 1988, I want to say.
Yeah.
88, 89. But that's the thing. This film works if you're a fan of Alec Baldwin. If you're not particularly a fan of Alec Baldwin, the only way you're going to enjoy The Boss Baby is if you're 5.
All right.
You know what I mean? so you either have to be 5 or a big fan of Alec Baldwin. Or both. You know, there could be 5-year-olds out there who just really dig Jack Donaghy. It could happen. You know? Sure, there's some 5-year-olds out there saying, it's after 5, what am I, a farmer? But that's the thing. It's a film of two halves. The first half where it's, you know, the older brother and the new baby, and they're having a bit of rivalry in the house. I love that. And the idea that it's Alec Baldwin as a baby in a suit who's playing it as an adult. I love that. That is a film and a half.
Yeah.
But the second half, where it goes and does Toy Story / Secret Life of Pets / every other animated film ever, and it just becomes, now we shall go on a mission away from the house, and the entire world will be at stake, and there will be a big action set finale in which there'll be a MacGuffin, and one of us shall have to get the MacGuffin, and there'll be some sort of emotional sacrifice, and boring.
You just stay in the house and
stay in the house, baby, and just make this work. That's what I mean. Character arcs are for closers, and that's it. But, like I say, if you're a fan of Alec Baldwin, you'll enjoy it. If you're 5, you'll also enjoy it. If you're 5 and a fan of Alec Baldwin, you're going to love this.
Number 3.
I don't have friends. I got family.
Fast and Furious 8, that guy's voice.
Oh, it really is, isn't it?
Incredible.
I actually rewatched Triple X, The Return of Xander Cage the other day.
Why?
And I wanted to know if it got any better. Actually, it does get better on a home release.
I disagree.
I can give you that, but it was rubbish in the cinema. But, right. I think this is as good as Fast 6. I don't think it's a patch on 5 or 7. You and I saw Fast 5 together, didn't we, years ago? In fact, didn't we see 6 together as well?
Yes. Yeah.
We did. But, because it was one of our bonding moments.
You didn't take me to see this one, though, did you?
Well, we had a bit of boys now at night, and you were at the other end of the country. But this is ludicrous, even by the standards of the Fast and Furious series. This is
it even about cars anymore?
There are cars in it.
Oh, wow.
There are things in the shape of cars. And I think if you mix around the letters in Ludacris's name, you can spell car.
Do they have cars in the background while they're talking about being like actual gangsters?
I think that's actually it. But that's it. You know what? If you've made it through 7 of these already, odds are you're going to like this.
Yeah, you're in for the run.
Who's coming to a series 8 films in and being like, oh, actually, I don't think I really particularly enjoy this series. You're like, okay. You know what I mean? If you've made it to number 8, then I think you know what to expect. I don't think it's as good as Fast 5 or Furious 7, but I do think it's as good as Fast and Furious 6.
Yeah.
So we are swings and roundabouts.
Yeah.
Number 2.
Just a bark. That really took me by surprise. A dog's purpose.
That actually is the Dog Wolf logo.
Oh.
That's the ident from Dogwolf. That's from the beginning of Lo and Behold, Reveries of the Connected World by Werner Herzog.
Oh.
So I took that off the Blu-ray.
I like it. I was expecting so much more, not just a quick bark and done.
But also editing that got me in trouble with my dog. So, but no. So right, A Dog's Purpose, which is utter bilge. This is just a vomit-inducing level of toxic saccharine, just saccharine toxicity.
Is there someone at the front holding a sign that says "Cry now"?
You know what? Actually, funny you say that, because you will cry at this film, even if you hate the hell out of it.
I nearly cried at the cat neck snapping story that you told a minute ago.
Don't watch the film, whatever you do. But you will cry at this film, because even if you hate it, you'll cry because it's so well made that it's like mechanically engineered.
You have no choice.
Yeah, it's like someone actually tickling you. You can be in the worst mood imaginable. If someone's tickling you, you will laugh.
Yeah.
This is exactly the same idea. This is someone tickling you when you want to be angry.
Did you come home and cuddle your dog?
Well, yeah, I really did. But no, the thing is, it is just the worst kind of Nicholas Sparks style pseudo Lifetime movie twaddle. It is awful, and yet it's so well made. It's got such great visuals and such a wonderful score. You kind of hate yourself for not hating it. And you will cry a couple times. Big crocodile manly tears. And I hate it even more for that, if I'm honest.
Yeah,
that just makes me hate it more.
Fair enough.
But I guarantee you, though, because it's so middle of the road, I guarantee you, if I showed it to my mum, she'd think it was amazing.
Oh, right.
So, you know what I mean? If you showed it to your mum, my mum, mums are going to love it.
Just mums.
Just mums.
Anyone's
mums. Mums and grandmums, they're going to absolutely lap it up.
Number 1.
Oh, yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
No, you saw this, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. This film's so good.
You enjoyed the hell out of it?
Yeah, I loved it.
Right. Okay, well, this is the thing. I really enjoyed it as well. There's a bit of discussion about whether or not it's better than the first one. I don't think it's worth even having the discussion, to be honest.
Yeah.
It either is or it isn't. That's personal preference.
It's just more goodness.
Yeah, it's personal preference. It is Volume 2. It literally lives up to its title. It's just another volume. And I really like it. I really like the energy, and I really like the characters, and I really like the idea of Clint Eastwood, Kurt Russell, and Sylvester Stallone being in a Marvel movie, which is amazing to me.
When Sly turned up, I was like, Sly?
What? Because they introduced him by his voice for like 5 seconds. You're like, well, that sounds an awful lot like. And then, of course, Michael Rooker, who more or less gets to walk away with the film.
Yeah, he really does.
Really does. And despite the fact that his character does get a level of depth the first film never afforded him, and yet it even retroactively makes his role in the first film even better.
Yeah, it really does.
And Sean Gunn, his henchman, a little bit to do as well. Really liked that. I think Bradley Cooper gets one of his more amusing roles, because I can't stand him in comedies, as Rocket Raccoon. And Baby Groot. Who doesn't love Baby Groot?
You can't not.
You can't not. Baby Groot is just awesome.
It is a film made for IMAX 3D, though.
It really is. It is a film
is.
that just owns that screen.
Yeah.
You can see it on the biggest, loudest screen you can.
Yeah, as many snacks as you can hold. Like, it's a proper see it in the cinema sort of
It really
movie.
is, isn't it?
And like, I think that they're missing from like films these days. You don't get enough where you really have to go see it in the cinema. And then this comes along, big, loud, hilarious, action-filled. It's great.
It's actually very true. They don't quite make the spectacle they should anymore.
Exactly.
You get like 1 or 2 big tentpole movies a year, and they almost always come from Disney.
Yeah,
but,
that's what Disney.
But this is very much a bums on cinema seats, please.
Yeah, it really
sort
is.
of an affair, and deservedly so. I can't wait for the third one.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Really can't. So, quick bit of film news regarding Guardians of the Galaxy before we move on. Elizabeth Debicki, who plays the Queen of the Sovereign in Guardians 2, the Gold Woman.
The Gold.
As she'll just be known. Gold Woman.
I was literally going to go, the Gold People?
The Gold People, yes, the Gold People. They're not douchebags at all. But she is apparently going to be returning for the sequel, which she kind of needs to, given the events of one of the end credit scenes, because it kind of sets up that she's kind of important.
Yeah.
But, so we've got that to look forward to. There's also a hint that we're going to get it in 2020. Apparently, which is 3 years from now, so believable.
Yeah, that's...
that would put it as the beginning of Marvel's Phase 4. Oh. So, yes, that'll also be the first Guardians post-Avengers movie.
Will it be the way that they kick off Phase 4? Because
I don't know.
Seems to have got enough sort of traction from the first two to...
Well, Civil War kicked off Phase 3, didn't it? So that could be an interesting one. That was a threequel that kicked off. In fact, Iron Man 3 kicked off Phase 2, so maybe that's the thing. Threequels have to kick off the new instalments.
Ah, right, yeah.
Could be a clever one.
We're like detectives here.
It could be. Could be that Ant-Man 3 will kick off Phase 5. We don't know. That's just part of the mystery. So let me talk about Frantz real quick then, which is latest from Francois Ozon, French New Wave writer-director. This is set in post-World War I Germany. It is a black and white film. It is about a young woman in a German village who one day is visited by a Frenchman. As one is visited by a Frenchman who tells her he was a friend of her late fiancé who was killed in the war. They were friends in Paris before the war, and they start to form a friendship based on their mutual relationship with Frantz, the deceased and also the title character. However, of course, this is post-World War I Germany, so they're not particularly fond of the French.
Not big fans.
As one would, not likely be. Not big fans of the French, and so they sort of shun him. They're very xenophobic towards him, and the friendship and the relationship that starts to build between these two starts to put her in an awkward position as regards, living in this small town. Right. It gets her sort of ostracised, as it were. But also, there's something slightly more to this man and his relationship with the deceased. What could it be? Mm-hmm. And, so this is really something, actually. This is genuinely impressive. So first, let's say the film is in black and white.
Yeah.
It is one of the most fascinating uses of colour I've seen in a movie for a long time. So, the film I've got, Pascal Marty, I believe, is the cinematographer on this. Pascal Marty, cinematographer on this. And what you've got is Francois Ozon and Pascal Marty have come up with a way to use the black and white, this classically toned, almost softened black and white visual palette. And what they do is, whenever they have a flashback or a dream sequence or a moment of genuine emotion, they don't so much add colour to it. What they do is they up the gauge slightly. They just push the colour level up just a little bit. Oh. So it looks like this classically faded 1930s almost sort of a colorised film. And it's really something. Oh. It's really, really something. You then got this musical leitmotif that runs all the way through. It's Philip Romby's leitmotif all the way through, which is based on Ode to Joy, Beethoven's Ode to Joy, and because it's a piano theme to the story as well, like a thematic use of piano, and yeah, really, really something. And then in the middle of it all, you've got, I'm trying to remember, Paula Beer. Paula Beer is the actress in the lead, and Pierre Niney. And to look at him, you immediately think Adrian Brody.
All right, yeah.
He has something of that almost weirdly classical European 1950s movie star sort of a look to him. Angular features, pointy nose, pencil moustache, looks good in a fitted white tux, sort of a thing. But yeah, the pair of them, absolutely brilliant. Oh. Genuinely great performances. I knew her before from other things. I did not know Pierre Niney at all. Although now I will. Now I'll look for him in things and I'll be thinking, hey, it's that guy who's Adrian Brody but better. In this really, really intriguing movie that, to be honest with you, the performances are so good and the writing is so good that Francois Ozon, in directing it, can pretty much afford to, just put his feet up and just point the camera and, let it be done,
Yeah, just let it do its thing.
But he chooses to just, in for a penny, in for a pound, I'll make something genuinely interesting. So he's gone and he's shot the hell out of this, and it looks amazing as a result. It's a Curzon movie as well, so you have to go to a Curzon cinema to see it, but there's enough of those now, I believe. There's a Curzon on every street corner, I believe, now.
We have one.
We have one in Sheffield, yeah. But, so, genuinely interesting. I really liked France. It's a good week for films this week.
Yeah, it really is.
It really is a good week for film. In fact, there is one film that isn't great this week, and we're going to review that next.
With the latest film news and reviews, this is Offscreen, the on-screen radio show.
And we're back and dancing. It's nice to know that everyone dances to that ident, John.
Yeah, I'm usually in my car, though, so I was going to put my hands forward. There's no steering wheel in front of me.
Do you just bop off the steering wheel to it?
Yeah, I drum to the beginning of the show as well.
Fair enough.
Not tell people the weird
No,
things
let's not do that at all. Right, so we're on the film news this week. You know what every week needs now? A new Liam Neeson movie.
All right.
So I've got one for you, and it's a remake of a Spanish thriller.
Honestly, thought you were going to say of an old Liam Neeson movie.
Yeah, we'd be better off with the old ones, admittedly. Right, so he's going to star in this one, Retribution, it is called.
The R titles.
Oh, he loves his R titles. The basic plot is he is a Wall Street bigwig who is driving on his way to work one day with his family in the car, only to then discover, dun dun dun, there is a bomb in the car.
Oh, wow.
And he is at the mercy of the bomber's whims. If he does not obey the bomber, with his family in the car, bear in mind, the bomber will unleash the detonation. And yeah, so this is going to be from the producers of Unknown, Non-Stop, and I think it's The Commuter that his new one is. But
so it's Speed then, yeah.
It's basically going to be Speed in a car. I think it sounds more like Grand Theft Auto, actually. But it sounds like one of the original stories for Grand Theft Auto. But, okay, so let's talk about the one film this week that's not great.
Okay.
Which, I'm sorry to have to break this one to you, but it's Alien Covenant.
Oh.
And so this is a prequel to the Alien Quadrilogy, or Alien Anthology as we're apparently calling it now.
But quadrilogy is such a good word.
I know. And it's a sequel to Prometheus. Which means if there's more than one, is that not Promethei? Do we have Promethei now? Is that what it is? We could call it that. So this takes place 10 years after Prometheus,
right?
In which there is a colony ship on its way to an unknown planet. I think they call it Paradise, the planet they're going to. And basically you've got a crew who are in hypersleep, like a core crew, and they're made up of, for instance, Demian Bichir, Billy Crudup, Catherine Waterston. There is a Michael Fassbender android aboard. The film literally opens with actually one of the Michael Fassbender androids being brought to life and programmed, and then jumps to this. Basically, you've got the core crew on this ship, on the Covenant, as it's called. There are then 2,000 people, 2,000 colonists in stasis, who are also in cryosleep, and there is a whole series of drawers made up of human embryos. So the idea is you've got adult humans who are going to live on this colony.
Yeah.
They're all couples, by the way, even the crew.
Right.
And then you've got embryos to be gestated as well, so there is a younger generation. However, there is a neutrino burst from a nearby solar flare that affects the ship, that knocks the crew out of hypersleep, that kills the captain, which is a near wordless cameo from James Franco.
All right.
Because that's apparently what his career's amounted to now. And Billy Crudup is forced to step in. He's the second in command. He steps in as the captain. James Franco's girlfriend, meanwhile, is left behind. She is the kind of the new second officer. She's Catherine Waterston. Right. The captain and Catherine Waterston discover there is a previously unknown planet in their path that's actually closer than the one they're headed to. The one they're headed to is 7 years away. This one is like a couple of days.
Right.
And this one is also capable of sustaining life. So it's a case of, let's go and check this out and see if this will make an equally suitable colony, and if we can skip having to go back into hypersleep with all these dodgy systems that may or may not kill us.
Yeah.
Now, it's worth noting, we don't have any clips for this.
Right.
There is exactly one clip. It is 21 seconds long, and it is mostly an action sequence.
Oh.
All the promotional material for this film is specially recorded footage. It is prequel stuff. It is messages from the crew back to home and things like that. There's no footage from the film out there. So you would think, wow, that's a really mysterious film. There must be a lot going for this, eh? What have they got in there, King Kong? You know, it's one of those things. And then you see the film, and wow, okay. So, first of all, Ridley Scott is back. Ridley Scott, who, directed Alien, and then didn't do one of these at all until, 2012, when he came back to do Prometheus. And the whole thing was, the prodigal son has returned. The man who gave us this franchise in the first place has returned. The Godfather is back.
Yeah.
So, given that there were 3 other Alien films between, his first and his last, it's really, really weird then that Ridley Scott would then come back to direct one, in this case Covenant, that is made up almost entirely out of bits of the other 3.
Oh, no.
And it's really, really odd. I mean, at one point, there's dialogue lifted wholesale from Alien Resurrection, of all things. Why? And you're thinking, why? No one needs to be reminded of Alien Resurrection. Literally, I watched it last night. I rewatched it. I thought, no one needs to be reminded of this film. Dan Hedaya in space. No one cares. Other than having Ron Perlman in it, which is, a waste. He deserved a better Alien movie.
Yeah.
But, so... there are a couple of interesting things in there. So you've got the new method of alien infection, which is actually really, really cool. I don't want to go into spoilers about it, but it is lifted from an early version of Alien 3,
right?
Which they didn't wind up making when they were going to do a whole Cold War in space thing before Vincent Ward wanted to make In the Name of the Rose in Space. And, I mean, Alien 3, I think, is a vastly, vastly underrated film. I think Alien 3 is the last good Alien movie.
Right.
And I'm including Prometheus in that, by the way, because this film has now decided officially Prometheus is an Alien movie.
Right. Oh, right. So that's
Prometheus is now officially an Alien movie.
Not just in the universe.
I would expect that to be reissued now as Alien: Prometheus.
Right. Yeah.
I genuinely will expect that. So there's an interesting idea, which is the new alien infection thing. There is the idea that the crew are all couples.
Yeah.
That's actually really something. And there's a moment in which it's brought up that for Billy Crudup's character, in which they say, listen, tread lightly because they are your crew, but you need to remember these people are going to be your neighbours. And you think, oh, actually, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
So you can't just turn around and lamp one of them if they get a bit threatening with you, because you are going to have to borrow milk from that guy one day. You know what I mean? Yeah. He will want to borrow your lawnmower eventually. You know what I mean? And it's a really interesting idea. There's also some certain religious ideas. So Billy Crudup's character, for instance, is a man of faith.
Right.
And this apparently has him ostracised. Like, they look down on him because of this, because obviously it's a sci-fi future. They firmly believe in science.
Yeah.
We're told about it.
They're
We're
on
never
a spaceship.
Exactly. We're told about it. We're never shown it. The stuff where it falls apart, though, is when it just feels the need to rehash previous Alien movies. When it then decides, screw it, we're just going to be a Prometheus sequel, regardless of whether or not that makes any sense. They have now watered down the origin of the Alien series to what can only be described as just apocryphal nonsense. And you come away from it all thinking, I didn't hate it, but it does feel completely unnecessary, and it feels like a movie that's just running in circles at this point. It feels like a greatest hits movie in the way that X-Men Apocalypse did.
Yeah.
You don't hate X-Men Apocalypse, but everything that's in it, you've seen in that series before.
Yeah, you have. Yeah, you're right.
And this feels exactly the same. I wasn't particularly taken in by it. I mean, it looks great because it's a Ridley Scott movie.
I was going to say, it
looks great. Yeah, see it on an IMAX screen by all means.
Yeah.
Enjoy the score, enjoy the booming sound design, enjoy Ridley Scott and his masterful use of the frame, because he's always had that.
Yeah,
but frankly, I just sat there watching it thinking, good God, I hope Blade Runner 2's better than this. But
so it sounds like all of the new ideas seem to work,
but the new ideas are they're really minor, and they are dropped as quickly as they're picked up.
Right.
And then we just go to, right, now we're just going to do the other one.
I was clutching at straws then.
You remember it.
Sorry, yeah.
Sorry, man. I hate to break it to you. Yeah. I know you want it to be good.
I did want it to be
I know you do, but I don't want...
Prometheus wasn't, and I was quite upset by that.
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong, by default, this is better than Prometheus, because at least it makes sense. It's got an A to B to C narrative. That automatically makes it better than Prometheus.
It really does. It really does.
If you need to turn on the director's commentary for the film to make sense, that's a bad film. Right? That film has failed in doing its job if you have to have it explained to you.
It's like when your dad explains his jokes.
Exactly. You're like, yeah, that joke didn't work there, Dad. But anyway, it is not our film of the week, I'm afraid.
All right.
Film of the week, I'm going to give gleefully to Jawbone.
Nice.
Which I thought was, I really thought it was tremendous. I can't wait to see it again. I've already seen it twice.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I really genuinely am looking forward to seeing it again. I thought it was great. Johnny Harris, genuine talent to behold. So, next week, couple of biggies next week. Next week we've got Guy Ritchie doing King Arthur, yo.
Yeah.
Because, that's what we need from King Arthur. Mockney accents, David Beckham and Jude Law. Yeah, that's... Have you ever thought that when you say, Sword and Stone? Yeah, that needs some David Beckham and Jude Law.
That's exactly what I think.
Yeah, exactly. I think of all films. We've got McLaren next week. We've got the documentary Machines. We've got Inversion. We've got Colossal next week. Do you know about that one?
No, I'm a bit rubbish at the minute.
Anne Hathaway gets drunk and can control a kaiju. That's the movie.
I'm in.
Yeah, me too. And of course, Snatched, in which Goldie Hawn and Amy Schumer team up for a girls' comedy.
Oh, yeah.
That's really going to fill you with excitement, because you're not an Amy Schumer fan, are you?
No.
But, so we've got all those to come and more next week off screen. And, that's it from us for now. I've been Van Connor.
I've been John Coulson.
And we'll be back next week.
Just show me the way to get out of here, and I'll be on my way.
You've been listening to Offscreen. For more news and reviews, visit onscreenfilm.com.
Okay, cut. That's a wrap.
Podcast extras.
You're looking forward to this, aren't you?
Very, very much.
So this is our shooting the blanks section. This is our little chit chat area. We will do a review. I'll do the review of The Leveling.
Oh, so we have to do serious things in the fun times.
Yeah, there's a serious thing we have to ask serious thing. There's a serious thing. Let's do some film news as well. Do you know the actor Cliff Curtis?
No,
Right.
Never.
I'm gonna show you a picture. I'll show you a picture of him. You might know him. You know that guy?
Yes, I do.
You'll know him from Fear the Walking Dead. He's in, I think, Training Day as well.
Yeah, he is.
He's joined Avatar 2, 3, 4, and 5.
What about 9, 10, 11, and 42?
Well, they've not been given release dates yet, so I think it's 2020, 2021, 2024, and 25 for the 4 Avatar sequels. Anyway, he is going to play Cliff Curtis, who's I think one of the leads in Fear the Walking Dead, which is a series I never got on with. He is going to be the leader of a reef clan, a water-based people on Pandora.
Oh, because it's underwater and
They're going to do underwater stuff now because it's James Cameron. And James Cameron, just everything with James Cameron is underwater. I don't know what it is with that guy.
It's like DC and Darken in the Rain.
Well, yeah.
I really need to get over that, don't I?
I really do. I watched the trailer for Wonder Woman and I'm like, oh, look, there's nighttime stuff and some rain.
When we were in the cinema, I leant over to Keller and I went, gosh, it's raining again.
The weather in DC world is crap, isn't it? Imagine that being a weatherman in the DC universe. It's like, and today's forecast is rain.
Yeah. Rain and darkness, guys. Did you see that one coming?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Right. Andy Weir, who wrote The Martian, who wrote the book The Martian.
Right. Yes.
Did you ever read the book for The Martian?
No, I just watched the film.
It's really good. The book. It's written in the first person. It's written from his perspective.
All right, well, the film's brilliant.
The film's brilliant. There's the extended director's cut of the film because it's a Ridley Scott movie. So there's always about 4 hours left on the cutting room floor.
There's another month of film.
Yeah, there's a month of film. Yeah. Actually, it fills in some plot holes. The director's cut.
Oh, all right.
But anyway, Andy Weir, that was his first book, was The Martian, and it's really, really good.
Do you get to be that guy that says, "Oh, the book is so much better than the film"?
Well, no, not particularly. I think the film's great.
All right, cool.
I think the film is absolutely great. But his second novel, which isn't even out yet, it's called Artemis. Fox have bought the rights to that, and they're going to be making a film out of it because they did pretty well out of The Martian. Including its is it Emmy or Golden Globe win for Best Musical or Comedy? Because
Really.
Well, yeah, that's how you give a film an award without actually giving an award.
Best film called The Martian.
Best film called The Martian. It's like the best Eddie Redmayne performance. The Eddie Redmayne Award for best Redmayne in Eddie Redmayne film. Right, Russell Crowe is looking to star in a movie with David Oyelowo. It's going to be called Arc of Justice. It's going to be based on a real civil rights case from the 1920s in Detroit.
Ooh.
So, could be interesting.
Cool suits ahead.
Cool suits ahead, indeed. As long as it's not like Live by Night with the ridiculously oversized ones.
Oh, right, yeah.
Where it just looked like Ben Affleck was uncomfortable the whole time.
Do you mean Batman?
Yeah. I was thinking about this the other day. Right, if you are Ben Affleck, right,
yeah.
Every time someone asks you a question, how do you resist the urge to respond with, because I'm Batman?
Well, yeah, it's like, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that'd just be your answer.
I say it. I've never been Batman.
It would be your answer, though, wouldn't it? It's like, why did you give the kids ice cream after 7? Because I'm Batman. It's one of those things, wouldn't it? It's like, Ben, why have we all got new iPhones? Because I'm Batman. Right, here's one you'll like. Okay, Jesse Eisenberg and Alexander Skarsgård.
I'm in.
Okay, you're in. See, it's a good idea, isn't it? They're going to star in a movie. It's called The Hummingbird Project.
Ooh.
It is going to be, this is a tech drama, tech thriller.
Oh, so it's not about the bakeries.
It's not about bakeries. It is not a sequel to the Jason Statham homeless thriller.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, it's called, that's it. In the US, that film has a different title. It's called Redemption.
It's called Stath.
It's called Jason Statham, Homeless Man. But, so they can star in the Hummingbird Project. They are going to be, they're high-frequency traders. Those guys who just, they celebrate victories in fractions of a second. And they try to pursue their dream of building a fibre optic cable between Kansas and New York that will make them millions and make them legends.
Right.
And they have to fend off their old, like bitter, vengeful boss.
Okay.
So that could be interesting. Jesse Eisenberg doing a tech drama.
Who'd have thunk?
Who'd have thunk it, indeed. I mean, he's never done that before. I mean, how could that possibly turn out? But did you see the 50 Shades Darker Honest trailer this week?
No, No,
it was so good. It was better than the film. But
well, of course it was.
It's not saying much.
This short conversation about the trailer was better than the film.
I would go with that. I would absolutely go with that. A lot of things are better than watching 50 Shades Darker. Right, there is a Johnny Depp movie coming that I'm very excited about. And I can't remember. I can't. Yeah, I know. It's weird, isn't it, to hear that out loud?
Yeah.
I'm excited about a Johnny Depp movie. I can't remember the last time that happened. That was 20 years ago. 20 years ago, I was excited about a Johnny Depp movie.
Back when he looked like Johnny Depp.
Back when he looked like Johnny Depp and not like the guy who ate Johnny Depp. But do you remember when Johnny Depp was that act? Every time someone said, "Oh, Johnny Depp in," and you're like, "I'm sold."
Yeah, I'm in.
I remember, like before the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
The first one was good.
No, but the thing is, no one cared in the run up to the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie. No one was excited about that movie.
Yeah,
that movie only made money really because of word of mouth.
All right, yeah.
But prior to that movie, Johnny Depp was that guy who you always knew the film was going to be good.
Yeah, well,
like Johnny Depp being in a film meant it was awesome.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah, and then after Pirates 1, all of a sudden all his movies suck.
Yeah,
and
then he did the thing where he's like, "Well, I make films for my kids." It's like, yeah, but they're already living a great life.
Yeah,
their dad's Johnny Depp. They're minted, mate. They make us a better film.
Go and send to Pistol and Boo. Shut up. Did Amber Heard take the dogs? I've always wondered this.
Oh, no one cares about the dogs anymore.
I think the Australian government care about the dogs. Barnaby Joyce cares about those dogs.
I love that guy.
Oh, man. Barnaby Joyce.
That's so angry.
He really is. That man hated that llama. He really did. Right. So Johnny Depp is going to star in a movie. It is called Richard Says Goodbye. Right, this is like it's such an obvious concept for a movie, but you sit there and think, actually, Johnny Depp could make this awesome.
Ah.
So the general concept is you've got a middle-aged college professor named Richard who gets told he's dying.
Right.
And decides, because he's something of a masochist, a sadist, he's rather than do the whole I'm going to get treatment and blah blah and my life will be hell for the couple of years I have left, he decides he's just going to binge on everything.
Oh well, yeah.
Binge on drink, drugs, smoke and sex, everything.
Like when you were younger and that's what you said you'd do. Like
exactly, and just hurl abuse at people he dislikes. And basically he has the time of his life. And the really funny part of this to me is this is from writer-director Wayne Roberts, right?
Right.
Wayne Roberts, his previous film, his debut was called Katie Says Goodbye. This is called Richard Says Goodbye. So I'm wondering if this is going to be something of a trend.
Yeah.
And that's kind of awesome to me. It's like, who's the guy? Jeremy Saulnier, who did Green Room.
Right.
He did Green Room after he did Blue Ruin. And I wanted it, for the longest time, I wanted it to be the case where every time he made a film, it was a colour and then something out and another word. It's like, the next one would be like, Red Bullet.
Yeah.
Like Yellow Dog and things like that.
Someone already did Yellow Submarine. So.
Yellow Submarine's already been taken, man, sorry. But, so let me talk about The Levelling really quickly then. So The Levelling is a British drama from Hope Dixon Leach. This is kind of a gothic drama, but it's set in the present day. It's set in, contemporary Britain. It's set on a farm. The idea is the farm is run by the older farmer. His daughter has been away at veterinary school. She's played by Ellie Kendrick. The father's played by David Troughton. These are you'd know him to look at, but you won't know his name.
That's everyone for me.
He's that guy from That Thing to You.
All right.
Yeah. Anyway, Ellie Kendrick's character returns home after the sudden death of her brother.
Right.
She returns home. She's been away at vet school. She then discovers that her brother actually took his own life. And the question then she starts to gestate over is, why? What drove him to do this? And what was going on this farm that suddenly he would spontaneously decide to take his own life? And she starts to look into it. And at the same time, she's left to sort of provide a sort of involuntary emotional crutch for her dad,
right,
who's very much just wanted to move on. He's doing that stiff upper lip thing.
Yeah.
He's like, we got a farm to run, like get out and milk the cows kind of thing. I could grieve, or I could milk the cows, I think he says at one point.
Oh, wow. Oh, he actually says
I think he actually says it at one point. And, so the question then starts to become, what happened to her brother, and what does it mean for the farm? We've got a clip of the three of them, because there's another brother as well, brother/friend. We've got a clip of them eating shepherd's pie.
Oh. Vegetables scream, do you know that? They do. They scream blue murder when they're being chopped down.
It's not true.
Bloody is. You know that, don't you?
I heard they swear too.
In French.
Oh, mon Dieu.
That's what leaks say. Oh, both père alors. Oh, my roots. Some cheap whore. Oh, look out. Here you go. She's eating some. Call the papers.
It's just potato.
Look at that smile. 1 in a million.
So this is actually really something. It plays like you could actually have transplanted this script and set it in a 17th century castle in the Scottish Highlands and shot it entirely at night, and it would have played exactly the same.
Nice.
But as it is, it's really something. Now, Ellie Kendrick, this is her first feature role. Although, apparently she was in the second season of Game of Thrones. But then again, who wasn't? So
I'm going to need to see a picture of her.
Well, everyone's been in Game of Thrones at some point.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
one of those things. Like, Ian McShane's been in Game of Thrones, you forget that as well.
He was just being Ian McShane.
He turned up to be Ian McShane. But, the Westeros version. But yeah, it's really something. Her performance is tremendous. Now, David Troughton, character actor, very good. This is a picture of David Troughton, by the way. You might know him. Possibly, I don't know. You might recognise him faintly from somewhere. He threatens to overpower every scene that he's in because he is a well-established, well-respected character actor. However, Ellie Kendrick has just enough gravitas to actually stop him doing that. I think, okay, that fair play. That works. There's something of a stage play element to it as well. Something of the gothic to it. You can't deny that. And Hope Dixon-Leach, who this is her first film.
Right.
And I believe she did this off a grant from, was it the British Independent Film Awards or something like that? She got a grant to do this. And she's written it, she's directed it, she's done a tremendous job. It's a great character piece. The characters are well defined. The mystery is actually genuinely intriguing. Like, you actually are interested in what's gone on behind it all, but it equally just works as a character drama. Now, there's a relatively unknown cinematographer behind it all, Nanu Segal. And there's a very crisp and cold sort of a tone to it. I mean, the title, The Levelling, refers to them actually levelling out a part of this farm when she's returned. And there's little things like the father has lost his man and started going on a badger cull, for instance. And she uncovers this as she's levelling. It's one of those things. It's like the harshness of the farm that she uncovers. Literally a secret she digs up, as it were. A literal digging up of secrets, as it were. And it's really, really interesting. It's chilling, it's enthralling, it's mysterious, it's got great performances behind it. I was won over by it. And I say it's not a crowd pleaser, but it is a genuinely interesting drama. It's the kind of thing, to be honest, the average person is going to come across on Film 4 late at night and then watch 5 minutes of it and think, actually, I'll stick with this.
Oh, then tell people about it.
And then tell people, it's a word of mouth. It's a grower, not a shower. As we all want to say, it is a grower, not a shower. But, I'm intrigued by that. By the way, you're a Workaholics fan, aren't you?
Yes.
Did you see the trailer this week?
No, I don't do trailers too much anymore.
Well, it's not a trailer, it's a teaser. It's a specially recorded thing, like all the stuff they've done for Alien Prometheus.
Yeah.
Prometheus. Right, they're doing a movie called Game Over Man, which is a reference to Aliens.
Yeah.
Because Bill Paxton's line in Aliens. They've done an action comedy set in a hotel, so they're actually in hotel, like, bellboy outfits.
Yeah.
And they've done this specially recorded teaser to announce that the film is going to be released on 4/20 next year.
All right.
Because obviously they are massive potheads.
They don't hide it. No.
They don't hide it very well at all.
No,
and apparently, if you go to one of Blake Anderson's Comic-Con parties, the scent in the air is pungent, we shall say. Yeah, he actually DJs parties at Comic-Con. I find that amazing.
Quality.
Like, that for me is a reason to go to Comic-Con more than anything else. Just, I want to go to a Blake Anderson party. I really do. Who doesn't? Are you a Bruce Lee fan?
Yeah.
Yeah, who doesn't love a bit of Bruce Lee? But, right, so Shekhar Kapoor, who directed Elizabeth and Elizabeth the Golden Age, because if you do a second movie, it's got to be the Golden something.
All right.
So, Hellboy told us this, Kingsman told us this, Elizabeth told us this.
Oh, yeah.
The second one's got to be the Golden.
Right.
Yeah, so, the Golden Age, the Golden Circle.
If it's got an R, the
Golden Army.
R something, we're in.
Double win. Yeah, double win. If you get a Golden R title, then you win. So expect, Underworld or Resident Evil, the Golden Revolution next.
With it, yeah.
But, so Shekhar Kapoor, who did Elizabeth and Elizabeth II, the Golden Age, is going to direct a Bruce Lee biopic, which he's also co-writing with Shannon Lee, Bruce Lee's daughter. And I didn't know this. I didn't even know of Shannon Lee, to be honest. I knew of Linda Lee because she was his widow, played by Lauren Holly in Dragon, which is the Bruce Lee story that most of us remember, if we're honest.
Yep.
Starring Jason Scott Lee, who was not actually a Lee. He wasn't a Lee of the Bruce Lee family. He was a different Lee.
Still a Lee.
Still a Lee, but he was different Lee.
All right.
He was obviously a different Lee. That's how it works. But so the Little Dragon, that's going to be Shekhar Kapoor's next one. Chris Pine and Michelle Williams are going to be starring in a spy thriller together called All the Old Knives. I'll say All the Long Knives. That's the Night of the Long Knives. All the Old Knives. That's going to be their one.
Okay.
Right. Joe Cornish is going to direct his second film. Now, were you a fan of Attack the Block?
How do you say it? No.
No. Okay, well, I wasn't either, to be honest.
It did have Nick Frost in, though.
It did have Nick Frost, and it had John Boyega in it, and we all forget that now. Oh, yeah. That's the movie that kind of gave the world John Boyega. Yeah. Right, so Joe Cornish hasn't directed a film since. He did co-write the Edgar Wright version of Ant-Man, and he is still credited as one of the writers of Ant-Man before Edgar Wright quit it. But he looks like he's returning now for something that's being called the British Goonies. It's going to be called The Kid Who Would Be King. And he's looking to cast unknown child actors as his cast. Apparently, it is going to be a Goonies-type adventure.
All right. So we could just watch the Goonies, then?
We could just watch the Goonies. Although there's some really insensitive stuff in that, like by today's standards.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But Nikolai Coster-Waldau, also from Game of Thrones, and Christina Hendricks, they're going to star in Brian De Palma's next movie. And, well, does anyone get excited about a Brian De Palma movie anymore?
No.
But I get excited about the movie De Palma, because that was awesome. That was a look at the entire career of Brian De Palma.
A movie about his movies.
A movie about his movies. Anyway, it's going to be called Domino, which is weird to me, because Domino was a Tony Scott movie starring Keira Knightley.
All right.
You remember when she was the bounty hunter?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was a terrible movie. But
had Keira Knightley in it.
Had Keira Knightley in it, but you don't know, she had a famous nude scene in it, in Domino. That was the big thing. They hyped it over, she had a nude scene. Then you saw it like, not really that.
It's like
with all that.
Swordfish.
Kind of like Swordfish. Or the one I always remember was Striptease with Demi Moore.
Yeah.
Which like, she got paid $12.5 million to, get a kid off. And then you saw it like, it was kind of a blink and miss it thing, really. I mean, you don't pay anyone. I mean, she deserved $12.5 million just for putting up with Burt Reynolds for that long a time. But, Dave Chappelle's going to be in A Star Is Born.
All right.
Which is going to be Bradley Cooper's directorial debut, starring Lady Gaga and Sam Elliott, and for some strange reason, Andrew Dice Clay. But
what?
I can't explain it either. I really can't. But do you know the title for Edge of Tomorrow 2?
No, right. So every website's done that thing where they're like Edge of Tomorrow 2 title ... and I've just never clicked.
Right, okay. Well, it's not really the kind of thing that gets someone out of bed in the morning, if we're honest. Right, bit of backstory, though. Are you aware of the retitling of Edge of Tomorrow?
Live, Die, Repeat.
Right, I've literally got the Blu-ray on the shelf here that says, they've changed the title to Live, Die, Repeat.
Yeah.
And then the subtitle is now Edge of Tomorrow.
All right, well, that's better, to be honest.
So it's kind of like 25 years ago when, it was longer than that, it was 27 years ago when Die Hard 2 came out. And Die Hard 2 is literally called Die Hard 2. And the tagline was, Die Harder.
Yeah.
Right. The thing is, they made the tagline so big on the poster that everyone assumed that was the subtitle.
Yeah.
The title was Die Hard 2, Die Harder. They have now retroactively worked that in so that it is the subtitle of Die Hard 2. The title of Die Hard 2 officially now is Die Hard 2, Die Harder.
I think when I had it on DVD, it it was still the other way around.
Yeah. Well, because they did that with Edge of Tomorrow, it became Live, Die, Repeat, Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm going to love this. This is the official title of the sequel. The sequel is officially called Live, Die, Repeat, and Repeat.
Really?
I'm not even making that up. Live, Die, Repeat, and Repeat.
It's like Sharknado.
Yeah. Well, mind you, apparently the next Sharknado is called Sharknado 5 Earth Zero. So, you make of that what you will.
Just live, die, repeat, and repeat.
Live, die, repeat, repeat. Right, shall I tell you about a comedy that you're going to desperately want to see?
Yes.
Right, okay. It stars Will Ferrell.
I'm in.
Okay, you're in. Okay. The idea is Will Ferrell is going to be a washed-up former sitcom star. Right? So he's going to be like a sort of failed actor who 20 years earlier was like a sitcom dad.
Still in.
Right? And the kid who played his son on the sitcom is now a grown-up man who's incredibly successful, and there's a bit of a jealousy thing going on between them. Have a guess who's playing the son. You're going to love this.
Oh.
It's Jason Momoa.
What?
Yes. So the idea is going to be Will Ferrell versus Jason Momoa.
I would have never guessed.
You really wouldn't, would you? No. But how awesome does that sound?
Yeah, I'm in.
I'm in for that. Apparently we're already getting Kingsman 3. That's kind of already been decided.
Yeah, it's already just why not? Well, to be honest, at the end of the first one, you're like, yeah, I'll watch a few more of these.
I'll watch a couple more. I'd rather they just left it alone because I think Kingsman, Kick-Ass 2 was terrible.
Yeah,
But Kick-Ass 2 was just why do that? Although apparently Matthew Vaughn has in interviews recently said we learnt a lot from Kingsman 2. We learnt what not to do. You're like, what, make the film?
Yeah.
But one of my most unfortunate pieces of news last week: David Lynch is done making feature films.
Oh,
that's sad.
That is sad.
I think I've always wanted him to do a sequel to Dune, but why not? Why not? There's stranger things. There are really stranger things out there. But let's see what else we got in the world. Oh, the Happy Time Murders. Have you ever heard of that? The Happy Time Murders.
No.
Right. It's going to be a sort of Roger Rabbit type movie. Right, but instead of animation, it's Jim Henson puppets. It's like Sesame Street puppets.
I'm in.
Exactly, right? So it's going to be like a puppet cop, a puppet detective who's like an ex-cop, teaming up with his human partner to solve the murder of like a puppet serial, to crack the case of a puppet serial killer.
This is amazing.
And Melissa McCarthy is going to be the human lead.
Oh, I'm in.
I'm in.
Sounds great.
And it's being directed by Brian Henson, son of Jim. Oh. So I'm sold on that. Sounds awesome, doesn't it?
Son of Jim.
Son of Jim. Pierre Morel, who directed Taken. Pierre Morel famously directed Taken. He's directing a film called Peppermint, which is being called the female John Wick.
Oh wow!
Which apparently we already have because Atomic Blonde is basically that. Apparently, it's
right.
Charlize Theron's new one, which just looks amazing. Have you seen that trailer?
No.
Oh, I'll show you. It's awesome. It looks awesome. It just looks immense. Antoine Fuqua, whose name we will never get tired of saying out loud. The head of Fuqua Films.
Your face lit up before you said it. Like
I do. Fuqua Films. He signed a deal with Sony recently.
All right.
Giving them first dibs on all his stuff from now on. Okay. This includes The Equalizer 2 and a movie about the Black Panthers, about one of their leaders who was discovered mysteriously dead under very, very dubious circumstances.
Did he have the Spectre lyrics next to him?
He did not have the Spectre lyrics next to him. One of the writers of Avatar 2 is going to write the screenplay for the Gears of War movie.
Oh, wow.
Right, the good thing is, if he starts today, then Gears of War might reach cinema screens before Avatar 2. So, with a decade to spare.
It's not like that should have been done years ago or anything.
No, not at all. We perish the thought. Clive Owen has joined a movie called Ophelia, which, if you've not heard of it, is going to be a retelling of Hamlet from the perspective of the Queen's handmaiden, who is going to be played by Daisy Ridley.
All right.
So Calvin will be first in line.
Yeah,
absolutely. Did you know, by the way, I only know this because I'm friends with Calvin and he texts me really strange things at all hours of the night, that Daisy Ridley has two sisters who are basically identical to her.
Oh.
Yeah. I think they are Maisie and Lazy Ridley. But no, they really do look exactly like. Daisy Ridley. Jordan Peele has signed a first-look deal with Universal. The first film he's going to make is apparently another social thriller.
All right.
In the vein of Get Out. Have you seen Get Out yet?
Yes.
Did you love Get Out?
Yeah.
It was awesome, wasn't
Although I found myself like all the way through turning and just going like, this is really creepy.
Did you love Brad as in it?
Yeah.
Bradley Whitford just owns that.
Parola's dad.
Oh, he is, isn't he? Yeah. He is. I forget that. God, wasn't he like an airline pilot in Brooklyn Nine-Nine? Oh man, yeah. But and Shia LaBeouf, because we all love Shia LaBeouf and his vast body of cinematic efforts. He's signed up for a new one. It's called The Peanut Butter Falcon.
Yeah, no one cares.
No, well, no. It's being called a bit of a Tom Sawyer's type tale. He is going to play the unlikely wrestling coach to an autistic boy who goes on the he has Down syndrome. A boy who leaves home to go and pursue his dream of becoming a wrestling champion.
Well,
so as you do,
yeah,
absolutely as you do.
Shia LaBeouf.
Shia LaBeouf sounds like something you should cry out when you stub your toe. Like, ouch, Shia LaBeouf! Like, I'm going to do that now.
Yeah, I know.
I stub my toe. But so yeah, that's all the film news really. We've plowed through it all in like record time. We usually at least 10 more minutes.
Yeah,
but
I think it's because Case is actually better than me at this job, and he's got opinions on the things because he's read about it. whereas I'm just saying, being like, yeah, tell me more. Why not?
Yeah, but the reason we have you on instead of someone else is because you at least can have a conversation about movies, which we like.
Oh, right, that's fair.
So, but
say things like Peralta's dad.
Peralta's dad, exactly. I did catch up with Brooklyn Nine-Nine this afternoon, actually.
So good.
And I'm very happy to have done so. I very much like that show.
It's so good.
But it was a very good week for films this week. I mean, the Alien movie was the worst movie this week.
Yeah.
I mean, who'd have thunk that?
That is quite sad, though.
That is sad, isn't it?
Although Prometheus did suck, so...
Yeah, Prometheus was... the worst part, I watched Prometheus voluntarily last week. I thought, I'll give it another try ahead of... ahead of Promethei.
So to see where we are.
Yeah, like revisit, like when a new season of a TV show starts, you watch the finale from the previous season.
Yeah,
like that. So I did that, and I watched it. And then the night before I saw Alien Covenant, I couldn't sleep, I was up late, and on, I think it was Channel 4, was Prometheus. And there was nothing on TV at that hour, and I'm like, oh God, I'm going to have to watch it again. And I'll be really honest, I hate Prometheus. It looks nice.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. It's like, do you remember when we had like the PlayStation 1 and you'd get the demo disc showing you what like games could look like? You were like, wow, this is cool. Although I'm just
actual gameplay footage not featured.
Yeah. That's what Prometheus is. It's like, oh wow, this looks great, but like, yeah, it's the rest of it's pants.
It's funny you mention video games.
Don't blink.
Well, that too. It's funny you mention video games, though, because one thought I did have through Alien Covenant was, you know, when you really want them to make like a new Doom game for the PS4, but rather than do that, what they do is they just reissue the old ones remastered into HD.
Yes.
And they've maybe added a level to them.
Yeah.
That is Alien Covenant.
Right.
It's like, we're not going to do, Prince of Persia 9, we're just going to give you the first 8 remastered in HD with 2 new scenes in it.
Didn't they actually do an Alien game that was meant to be really good?
Alien Isolation. Funnily enough, I was talking to Kermode about it.
Should have just played that on the screens. The YouTube playthroughs that people do.
Well, after I saw Covenant, because he's obviously the go-to guy for Alien movies, I asked Kermode, am I right in thinking that this, insert spoiler here, is from an early draft of Alien 3? And then started a very long conversation about the fate of Alien 3, in which I think I must like it more than he does. But he did say, in fact, he actually did specifically say, the best thing he's seen from the Alien universe since the James Cameron one is the Alien Isolation game. And I said, my son played it for about 2 weeks and lost about 3 stone.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I can absolutely believe that. I've not got around to playing it yet, actually.
No, I'm not man enough. It's quite jumpy. And
I saw the footage from it and it looked amazing.
Yeah, I'm a 6'3" wimp.
Really?
Yeah. Oh God, I'm so jumpy. It's unbelievable.
Well, no, remember the time we watched Event Horizon and the power died? We had a power cut in my house.
That's literally one of the scariest moments in my life.
That's amazing. For anyone who doesn't know this, John Coulson charged up an iPhone using one of my dodgy plugs, right? During the first time he had ever seen Event Horizon, it got to the sequence with Sam Neill in the Jeffries tube or the access panel when scary things start happening, and at that moment his phone blew the power in my house.
God.
And he freaked out. It was great.
It's terrifying.
It was absolutely brilliant.
Offensive language was screamed.
Oh, that was a good one. But shall we leave it there then for this week?
Yeah, I think we should.
Okay. Well, do you want to cue us out then?
Oh, do I get to say
You get to say it. Go for it.
Here it is. Your moment of cage.
What are you gonna do for me?
What do you think I'm gonna do? I'm gonna save the day.